Hello everyone, I'm Lillian. Today's video will be my first ever book review on this channel. I am so excited, but I've never done a video book review, so you'll just have to bear with me here if it's really bad. Well, let's get started. Today's video, I'll be reviewing An Ember in the Ashes by Sabaa Tahir, or however you pronounce that name. Now, this book centers on two point of views. First one is of Leia, who is a slave, and the second one is of Elias, who is a soldier. Both their lives intertwined together. Now, a lot of this story is centered around Leia, who, when her brother is captured, goes undercover as a slave into the enemy's academy, and she goes to try to find out information about how to get her brother out. Elias happens to be a soldier at the same academy that Leia is a slave at. All Leia does is want to be free from being a slave, and then it also happens that all Elias wants is to be free of being a soldier. So their lives just kind of intertwine together, and it's just so great. Okay, so if I'm being honest here, which I totally am, I really only bought this book because everyone said it was like the biggest book of the year and it was just so great and you had to read it. So I bought it not really knowing much about it, other than I knew it was like a dystopian fantasy mix or something in that sort, and I knew it was fairly clean. I'm actually very happy that I did buy it, because while it's not the biggest book of the year in my opinion, I do believe that it is very well written, and I am so glad I read it. So honestly, this book took me a bit to get into because I have very high expectations for it after seeing all the reviews, and then I got into it some and I was like, it's just not special, it's nothing new, and I was disappointed with it. And after you get about 100 pages into the story, it all just picks up and it just turns out to be really good. I found myself reading it for most of the day, and when I wasn't reading, I was hoping that I could be home soon to read, because I couldn't get that story out of my head. I just fell for it. Sabaa Tahir's writing is just phenomenal, honestly. And if you have ever read my blog or looked at my Instagram, you have probably seen that I am a big fan of characters. Like, characters really make or break a story for me, and I was in love with these characters in the story, so that just kind of made me love the book even more, along with her writing. But what I love probably the most throughout the story is how well the whole setting was set up, and how Sabaa Tahir, she would incorporate the setting in with the story and the backstory and everything, so you just felt like you really knew the characters. The book does start off with Leia, and as you go through the whole book, you go through Leia's backstory, and so you know more about her, you learn about her family, and then you also learn as to what she's currently going through. Elias, you don't learn much of his backstory, but he doesn't have much of a backstory. Most of what's going on is what is currently happening in his life than what has actually had happened in his past. I mean, after you get 100 pages into this book, the storyline picks up and I just loved it so much. I probably read over half the book in 24 hours because I just loved it a lot. I'm also a huge fan of villains, and villains in a story are either, not evil enough, too evil, so they're delicate for me. But the villain of the story, whose name is the Commandment, how she was written was so beautiful. She's vicious, she is a wonderful, wonderful villain. She's ruthless. I love it, and I loved seeing her backstory, which a lot of times you don't see a villain's backstory so early on, but in this book, it had a lot of her backstory in it, and I would love to see a novella of the Commandment story, and I really would love to see more of how she got to be that ruthless and how she got to be that mean. I know we already saw some of that in this book, but I would love to see more of her, because I really just loved her. Okay, so we probably all have those characters that you just hate. Like, you can't justify their actions, you just don't like what they do, you don't like them, you don't think that they belong with the person, kind of involved in a love triangle maybe even, and you just really don't like. I'm gonna add another one to the list now, coming from this book, and that is Helene, or Helen. I'm gonna call her Helene because the E at the end, but, oh, I have not disliked character as strongly as I dislike Helene in a long time. Honestly, her actions cannot be justified. I mean, I'm not gonna spoil anything here because I really don't want to spoil anything for you guys that have not read the book. But if you have read the book, hopefully you agree with me and you don't like Helene. I mean, honestly, there's nothing to justify her actions, how the way she treated Elias. She was the worst best friend ever. No. And if you happen to have a different opinion than me and you really like Helene, tell me in the comments below and kind of explain your side of the story there. I'd love to see why people like Helene. Okay, so the way I saw this book, there is a couple possible ways the love triangle can go. There is Leia, Kanan, and Elias. And I think with those three people, it can go kind of like Leia can end up with Kanan or she can end up with Elias. And honestly, I'm feeling her and Elias right now. As a lot of people I have talked to, they love her and Elias. But I feel like Kanan is a very strong contender in this, and I would love to know more about him. I think I would like her and Kanan better together if I knew more about Kanan, but because you don't learn a lot about Kanan in this book, I kind of want to know more on Kanan's story, and then if he continues how I would like him to continue and knowing his backstory and his feelings and everything, I think I will choose Kanan over Elias. Are you Team Kanan or Team Elias? Tell me down in the comments below and see who you favor and why. Straight after finishing this book, I looked up things about the next book because I had heard before I even read this book that it was made for a sequel, and I never knew people could be that excited for it until I read the book, and I totally, if I'd already read the book, would have fangirled with everybody else of a sequel. And then I figured out they're making a movie and the script is almost done, and I am very excited for that because I honestly think seeing this play out on the big screen will be great. Overall, I give this book 4 out of 5 stars just because of the slow beginning and it just felt like there was something missing there. But other than that, I still really loved the book. I really can't wait for the sequel, I can't wait for the movie, and I can't wait to keep up on it all. Anyway, let me know down in the comments below how you felt about the book if you read it already, or if you're planning on reading it and why or why not if you don't want to read it. I don't know, just let me know your feelings about the book down below. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more videos and more fun things. I'm Lillian once again, and thank you for watching my video.